Welcome to the High Octane Podcast, brought to you by the Virginia Automobile Dealers Association.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the VADA High Octane Podcast. My name is Tommy Lukish, Manager of Legal and Legislative Affairs here at VADA. Today we're discussing theft of motor vehicles and parts at VADA member dealerships and dealer-owned facilities. For the discussion, we are joined today by Special Agent Peter Lazier of the Virginia State Police's HEAT program, as well as Virginia Senator, soon-to-be retired Senator Bill Carrico, who serves as VADA's current senior field rep for Southwest Virginia. Bill, I was talking to President Don Hall earlier. He said, and I said, should I refer to him as Senator or Bill for this podcast? He said, here at VADA, we have one president and no senators, so it's Bill. It's Bill for the time being. Gentlemen, thank you both for doing this. I appreciate it. All right, so recently, our members have heard us talk about theft at Virginia's franchise dealerships. This is in response to the unfortunate reality that many dealer groups and areas throughout Virginia have experienced parts and or vehicle theft at their facilities in recent months. We're determined to help tackle this issue, which is an important one. Fortunately, for us, we've got a partner in the process, and that's Virginia State Police and the HEAT program in particular. HEAT stands for Help Eliminate Auto Theft. On December 4th, both Special Agent Lazier and Senator Carrico joined myself and other VADA staff in a crowded room of dealers and dealer personnel in Northern Virginia to discuss this very issue. I understand the Special Agent will be traveling to other parts of the state in 2020 to educate dealers on auto theft and parts prevention. Today's podcast is another stop on that quest. We sincerely appreciate, again, you being here. So first, Special Agent, can you tell us a little bit about the HEAT program?
Sure. The HEAT program was created in 1992 by the General Assembly, and they recognized that the year prior there had been over 22,000 motor vehicle thefts in the Commonwealth. And to combat this effort, they created what's called the HEAT Fund. And this was a statewide program to receive and reward information that leads to the arrest of persons who commit motor vehicle theft. The funding for this was directed through the insurance companies, actually. So 0.25% of total direct gross premium income for automobile physical damage insurance is what pays and funds the HEAT Fund. The fund is administered by the superintendent of the state police and is governed by an advisory committee. And this committee assists in developing and reviewing the plan of operation for the HEAT Fund. The HEAT program logistically is based out of State Police headquarters in Midlothian. We have 6 total personnel. I'm one of the 2 agents assigned to the program. And our goal is to provide cash rewards for auto theft tips. We support our 7 field agents across the Commonwealth. And we also offer a grant to local law enforcement to actually pay for them to attend auto theft training on an annual basis. And of course, we provide educational training such as this and appear at events across the Commonwealth.
Yeah, Bill, you had an interest in crime prevention as a legislator, and you still do, but obviously you served also as a state trooper for many years. Now you work with VADA, as we mentioned. Can you talk about VADA's relationship with state police, including the HEAT program, and what it's been like working with that agency and that program?
Well, it has been a unbelievable partnership with the VADA and the state police because I believe that with the fact that you're dealing with dealerships across the state, and the state police is so involved with automobile thefts through their HEAT program that it's a great partnership. I believe I bring a unique perspective to the role by having that background with the state police for almost 16 years, and the 18 years as a member of the General Assembly, serving on transportation for all 18 years, and the chairman for the last 6. I've had the opportunity to work with the state police and VADA in that role, and a lot of times they are hand in hand in a lot of these issues and what they do, and the prevention side. I've been a voice for them for many years in the public safety issues, and the HEAT program was one of those issues that I felt VADA and state police could partner in. The state police has been a great partner with me as a legislator, and knew that they would join in together with us as we move forward.
Yeah, I appreciate all that. I'll say, we've here at VADA enjoyed a great relationship with state police for many years. It's only been strengthened by you joining the team, Bill, and certainly you're a valuable member to this process as we try to tackle this important issue. Special Agent, obviously auto theft is a huge problem at dealerships. That's why we're talking about it. But it's not limited to one part of the Commonwealth. and it's a big problem. In 2018, 177 vehicles were stolen from dealerships alone. Based on information that you provided me, it appears theft occurs 7 days a week and typically between the hours of 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. Can you talk about why and how theft happens generally at these dealer-owned facilities?
Yeah, first, I think it's important we talk about why thieves steal cars. And one of the main reasons we're seeing is from money. They can turn that car into cash on the street. And without a registration, they swap a different license plate, and the vehicle can be cash in their pocket. So money is a high motivator. Sometimes they just need transportation to get from point A to point B. Occasionally, we have issues with insurance fraud. Probably not a huge issue at dealerships, but also thieves need these vehicles to commit other crimes. It's difficult to commit a robbery, arson, rape, homicide without a vehicle to get there. And of course, they don't want to use a vehicle registered in their own name. And then, obviously, vehicles are sometimes just taken for fun, joyriding, the thought of immortality. But why dealerships? And that just may be that the thieves are exploiting weaknesses in the dealerships. There's potential to overcome physical security, of course, cameras, physical barriers. But thieves are looking to get access to those keys. And we all know keys are floating around dealerships quite a bit. They're also taking advantage of personnel. Thieves are smart. They'll target dealerships that have personnel that don't seem to pay very close attention to their lot, to their keys, to their vehicles. They'll leave vehicles running. And then, of course, at dealerships, you have just the sheer quantity of vehicles that you're facing. It's a numbers game. A lot of vehicles in and out at some of these dealerships, and they may not notice a vehicle missing for a while. They're taking some of these vehicles by physical force. That's not a common tactic, but brute force to enter the dealership after hours, attach, say, a tow truck and drag the vehicle out. But more than commonly, they're just gaining access to the keys, whether that's by being left alone with the keys, making an illegal copy, or they're purchasing the vehicle with someone else's identification. So they might use fraudulent ID or stolen identification, and the transaction appears to be legitimate, but it's not. And then, of course, one of the hot topics now is getting electronic access to the vehicle itself. So in some cases, it's as simple as plugging into the OBD2 port or a port behind the dashboard, and that gives them, with the help of an expensive scan tool, they can program a new key. But one of the things people are talking about now is relay attacks, and that is when at least two people use electronic devices to mirror the electronic signal coming between the fob and the car. And while this is possible, it's not a common tactic in this country yet. We've seen a lot overseas, but in the United States, it's still very rare. And of course, Hollywood wants you to think that any vehicle can be hot-wired, but after about 1995, that's extremely difficult. Manufacturers have built in anti-theft technology to prevent that.
So with all of that in mind, and we've talked about theft occurring, we've really seen the gamut, at dealerships, access getting maybe in the middle of the day, but then in the middle of the night at dealer-owned facilities Sure. that are off the typical lot that people see every day. With all of that in mind, what can dealers do to prevent theft from occurring?
Well, one of the approaches we preach is the layered approach. So layer one is common sense. That's where you're always locking the vehicles. You're not leaving them running. You're parking them in well-lit areas. You're maintaining your security systems. Layer two is visible or audible deterrence. That's where you are installing alarms on the vehicles themselves or etching the VIN on the glass. And then layer three is using the technology available, such as immobilizers, GPS, factory systems like OnStar, Uconnect. But I think there's really three specific areas to relate to dealerships that we need to protect. One is protecting the keys. That means maintaining physical control of the keys, never leaving them alone with a customer. Securing all the keys when they're not in use. If that means putting a lockbox out of public's reach, checking it at the beginning and end of each time that the dealership is open. The second thing would be to protect the paperwork, and that is when you're scrutinizing the identification or the documents provided to you by the purchaser. Make sure that the person who's actually sitting in front of you is the person who's on the paperwork. And then, of course, verifying that a bank check is legitimate before it's accepted. Even if you have to call the bank or use an electronic machine, verify the routing numbers, make sure that the check has the watermarks. And lastly, protect the dealership. That's where you're installing physical barriers, alarm systems, improving your lighting, high-definition cameras. And it could be as simple as just acknowledging all the customers on the property when they enter, a simple hello to let them know that they're seen. So really, it's those three areas: protect the keys, protect the paperwork, and protect the dealership.
Yeah, so obviously prevention is ideal, but let's say theft happens either at a dealership or dealer-owned facility. We'll jump to you for a second, Bill. With your background as a trooper, and then we'll come to the special agent. What steps would you recommend dealers take upon discovering something's missing?
Well, I think the most important thing is reporting these incidents, and report them as soon as you possibly discover it. Report something suspicious going on, report someone suspicious, and report it to the local agency or the local trooper. And whenever you report this, request whoever you report it to initially that they work with the local heat agent to finding out if this is part of a trend. Make sure that when you hire someone, if things like this are starting to happen, that you look back and see wherever that individual came from, if the same things have occurred there too, and where they worked in the past, and make sure that all that information is given to the law enforcement officer. Once the law enforcement officer has all the information to understand what's going on, then they can, make a determined decision on if this is an isolated incident, if this is an incident that has been covering several dealerships, or if it may be someone within that is doing these things. So, the reporting process is the most important part of it. And always remember, as a dealership, you're a soft target because you have to be welcome. You have to have a welcoming attitude towards the public to sell your product. And that means that they have immediate access to your product. They have a lot of access to looking over your properties to see where they can come back to when no one's there. And as Agent Lazier has alluded to, lighting and security after hours is very important because they will tend to gravitate back to that location if it's not.
Right. No, thank you. Special Agent, you have anything to add there?
I mirror what Bill said. On top of that, just treat every scene like it's a crime scene. If it's a minor thing, it may be one latent fingerprint that solves a major crime or a major string of burglaries or thefts. So and also stay in touch with your investigators. Let them know that you're a willing victim and you're willing to cooperate.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I've got one more question here. We talked about how the HEAT program has been around since 1992. Obviously, cars have changed a lot since then. You talked about how folks are not hot wiring cars like you would maybe see in the movies.
Sure.
So obviously, the HEAT programs had to adjust as the years have gone on to adapt to prevent today's criminal from stealing cars with varying technological advancements. Can you talk about what the HEAT program is doing to educate dealers and the public generally on vehicle theft prevention?
Yeah, one of the things that we operate is a cash reward program. And so the HEAT program will offer up to $25,000 in cash for auto theft tips that lead to an arrest. And those are simple to submit at our website, heatreward.com, or we have a 1-800 number that's 1-800-947-HEAT. And on top of that, our agents, just like we're doing here today, are available to meet with all sorts of organizations and talk about auto theft prevention. So we go to neighborhood watch meetings, any community civic group. We're also in the eyes of the public. So we have marked specialty vehicles. We've just acquired some 2019 vehicles. We have a Corvette, an F-250, a large display truck, and we will bring promotional items as well and talk with the public. So we'll be at events this year such as NASCAR, the Virginia International Auto Show in February. We'll be speaking with Harley-Davidson owner groups and, of course, the National Night Out events later this year in August. But just to give your listeners a little bit of peace of mind, our auto theft agents are hosting regional meetings around the Commonwealth. So we try to facilitate the conversation between state, federal, and local auto theft investigators. And in most cases, we're meeting on a monthly or bi-monthly basis to discuss what's going on and to keep those lines of communication open. We do have a lot of social media presence on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're using the hashtag VSP Heat. If you search for the HEAT program, you can find us on all those platforms. And then I do want to offer something to your listeners. The state police has certified crime prevention specialists, and these are troopers that are specially trained in completing a survey of your facility. And this is a free service that the state police offers where a trooper will come out and do a survey of your property and provide you a written report and suggestions on how you can improve security. And the way you really go about that is to contact the state police through our website at vsp.virginia.gov and search for your local area office and give them a call.
Well, thank you for all of that. And as we wrap up here, I just want to thank you both again. This is incredibly valuable information, I think, for all of our listeners. It's educational for me. I certainly appreciate, and I think I speak for everybody at VAD when I say we appreciate the ongoing relationship we have with Virginia State Police and this growing relationship we have with the HEAT program. And where any such meetings take place, we'll work with the special agent on all that. If you would like Special Agent Lazier's contact information, please email me at tlukish, so tlukish at vada.com, and I will get that over to you. Senator Bill Carrico's VADA contact information is available on our website at vada.com. For everyone listening, thank you for joining us for another episode of VADA's High Octane Podcast. We sincerely appreciate it. If ever there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. As always, it is a pleasure to serve the new car and truck dealers of Virginia. Thanks.
This has been High Octane, a podcast production of the Virginia Automobile Dealers Association. Join us again next time.